Yes, guess what Governor Cuomo did? In typical style, around 4:30 in the afternoon, he has a reception at the mansion for Cesar Perales, the Secretary of State that he appointed. And there, all of a sudden, they dump, on a Friday dump, they announced a diversity and inclusion
advisory council on diversity and inclusion to accelerate hiring of minorities in state government. And
that's a lot of buzzwords.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 6 years into his administration. He realizes that he needs a diversity council to tell him that. So it's very interesting, and it's also the fact that he waits for the Somos weekend. It's a Friday dump, and somehow people are supposed to accept this as a legitimate concern that he has for bringing in more people of color into his administration, which is, and by the way, his own...
Yeah, and no matter how you look at the spin of the press release, I mean, the numbers are in there. 17.5% of the New York workforce is Hispanic, and 4.9% of the government workforce is Hispanic.
And African American, by the appearance, you see, this is where it's divisive, because by the appearance of this, it says, has Caucasian 58.4% of the workforce in New York State, in percent is 58.4%, and 74.3% is in the New York State government workforce. But then he says that African Americans of the workforce in the state are 13.8%. His own numbers, folks, and he says 16.6%. Now, if we get into this tribal thing, Latinos are going to say, wait a minute, how come you got so many blacks? So this is the kind of, he just throws it in there, and it's uncomfortable. We are Hispanic 17%, 4.9%, which isn't much better than when his father was 30, almost 40 years ago when he was governor. Asians make up 8.6%. According to his own numbers, 3.8%. So you would argue that Asian is overrepresented in state government. So this is the kind of thing, he plays with numbers. He then appoints, let me just say this, he appoints the yet to be confirmed, a friend of mine.
But she probably will be confirmed.
Secretary of State, well, she hasn't been confirmed. The added burden for her to chair this diversity or inclusion committee, Assemblyman Marcos Crespo, Assemblyman Nick Perry, Chief Diversity Officer Raul Rodriguez, the Civil Service Commissioner Lola Bremen, and the Deputy Secretary of Labor, Elizabeth de Leon Vargas. Now, all of them in the press release, without any kind of embarrassment or caution, they're all praising him. So how can you appoint a diversity council that is going to hold you accountable when they're your employees?
And I know you've heard from Angelo Falcone about this already. I'll let you cue up the comment he gave to you. Ashley, before that, though, obviously this press release comes out. What didn't happen was a press conference. What hasn't happened for a while is a press conference. How is the LCA feeling about the lack of the governor making himself available to answer questions on things like this?
I mean, I think there's a lot of anger, and it's building. I know that there's a lot of talk that if there isn't a Red Room meeting after the budget, there's going to be a lot of upset people. We can't get our questions answered. It's just, it seems kind of unparalleled. I mean, I don't think this has ever been a problem before. I mean, Cuomo's always been, the last 2 years, not the most available governor, but I think even this, I don't think we're being absurd to be upset about this. We're nearing 300 days, and he doesn't talk to us.
Do you think he's afraid of the press, or is he just not?
I honestly don't know. I mean, that's a good conclusion you would make. I mean, why won't he talk to us? Is he scared of the questions? He'll talk to other reporters when he goes around the state, but they don't know the issues like we do.
The local reporters.
Yes.
When he goes to oh, really?
Yeah. But they don't know the issues. It's not their job to know the issues like we do.
And we'll be talking more about this down the road, I'm sure. Harrison, what did Angelo Falcone have to say?
Well, I said, when we got this, it was so late, and we didn't know, we couldn't call someone to do this, so I sent the press release out to Angelo Falcone. Angelo Falcone has been the political scientist who's been doing research way on New York State labor workforce of Latinos, and also in the city level. He's done more research than everybody. His response...
And just in case you don't know, he's the president of the National Institute of Latino Policy.
That is correct. Yeah, that's right. So Angelo Falcone responds in 3 paragraphs after reading what the press release is. And I quote, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's announcement today of its creation of an advisory council on diversity and inclusion is a major disappointment for the most underrepresented community in state government, Latinos. As the governor's news release points out, although 18% of state workforce, Latinos make up only less than 5% of the state government workers. Instead of announcing long overdue measures to address this history of clear employment discrimination against Latinos, the governor instead has created an advisory council made up for the most part of members of his own administration without any Latino, Black, or Asian community participation. The involvement of members of the state legislature, appointment for the most underrepresented community in state government, Latinos. As the governor's news release points out, although 18% of state workforce, Latinos make up only less than 5% of the state government workers. Instead of announcing long overdue measures to address this history of clear employment discrimination against Latinos, the governor instead has created an advisory council made up for the most part of members of his own administration without any Latino, Black, or Asian community participation. The involvement of members of the state legislature in this advisory council also indicates a buy-in by them that compromise their long neglected oversight function of the executive on issues such as this. This is Angelo Falcon. Now, Marcos Crspon, Assemblyman Marcos Crspon, who actually, you can hold the mic. Thank you for coming. I know you're very busy. You had your conference. The governor today drops, I mean, this is like, you talk about a dump, a Friday dump. 4:30, 4:45, he dumps this thing about a diversity committee, a commission, a council diversity, on the 6th year of his governorship, okay? Into his second term, 6 years in government. 32 years ago, his father has an advisory council. And what's surprising here was I'm reading the members, you're one of them. Already, this is getting back, I mean, this is getting a pushback. And I'll read you something, a person that you know, who's been around, who's done the most studies. Angelo Falcon has already responded. And in part, he says, instead of announcing long overdue measures to address this history of clear unemployment discrimination against Latino, the governor instead has created an advisory council made up for the most part of members of his own administration without any Latino, Black, or Asian community participation. He goes on, the involvement of members of the state legislature in this advisory council also indicates a buy-in by them that compromise their long neglected oversight function over the executive on issues such as this. He's talking about you, because you're part of the diversity council.
Of course, I'm in, and I'm proud to be in it. And I'll tell you what.
But what are you going to do? He hasn't done anything.
Oh my! Can I give you the answer, Gerson, before you give me the second or third question? I'm going to give.
Well,
I've
been around longer. I've been around and covering this longer than you.
I understand. So, what has your generation done? And why did Angelo Falcon and all these other people over the years who've advocated and clearly didn't get the job done because the numbers are what they are? Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Fine. And neither did Democratic governors.
It was Mario Cuomo who didn't get the job done.
And
the same guy that built all the prisons. And the same guy that built all the prisons. The same guy that built all those prisons. It was Daddy Cuomo who did that. And now he comes to be the savior that he's going to close down prisons.
I don't think.
And you guys are going along with that.
No. Let me give you my perspective. I respect Angelo Falcon and those who believe that this is another gimmick. It could be. But let me explain something to you. Hold on. I could hear your question. Give me an answer. Let me give you an answer.
But it's here. It's in black and white.
Ladies and gentlemen, viewers of City and State, I love this man. We may disagree, but I understand his passion and his frustration. The Latino community has been for far too long underserved. And this opportunity that the governor is presenting may in fact be another political gimmick, but I don't think so. Let me tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going along with it. I'm participating to bring a purpose to it. And if I see that it's only a gimmick, then maybe I'll walk away from it. But I'm not going to deny an opportunity to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm an elected official. I'm the leader of a group that's supposed to represent the Latino community. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to work with them to establish real, legitimate policies that are going to change the dynamic. We've already discussed with the governor's office a number of bills that we have introduced, not just me, members of the Latino Task Force, that will do civil service reforms, that will make institutional changes to the way in which selections within civil service will happen. And our goal is to make systemic change.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
You say so. Let's see what happens. My job is to get the job done and try. So,
good luck on the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marcos Crspon, State Assemblyman, also chairman of the Hispanic Task Force. You're going to do a Bronx thing in there? Let's get to the Bronx. Well, thank you. Thank you. Assemblyman Marcos Crspon. You know, it's heated because the interesting thing is that we've been in this movie before. And with all due respect to Mario Cuomo, he would pull this. He didn't pull this in our community. I've lived long enough to know this. This, I can dare say, Andrew Cuomo, you can call it what you want. This is a sham. This is me personally, my opinion. A sham. I've seen this. Your father had more respect for us than what you're demonstrating here.
He's aware of your opinion at this time.
No, but I'm going to make sure that he understands it.